Here I am going to show a demonstration of a smart building which is deployed in Delpheon. This is the initial login screen, where we can either sign in with a Google ID or any other identity provider. Once we click on the login button, we are taken to a screen where the map of the location is shown, and the red circles indicate that there are some alarms in the location, which is shown here. Once we go further into the location, we can see that there are a couple of buildings shown here, and one of the buildings has an alarm. If we go deeper into that building, we can see a dashboard where all the details of the buildings are shown. As you can see, now we have an image of the building, the power monitor card, sensor status card, and then the utility consumption summary. We can also see energy consumption per day, which is shown here. In the bottom pane, we have the list of alarms which are either warning, normal, or critical. If we click on any of those alarms, it will further take you to a screen where we can see the summary of all alarms in that category. Currently, it is the CEO cabin window which is open, and that is listed as a critical alarm here. Now we can go back to the power monitoring screen where the electrical layout of the building is shown. Here we have multiple inputs from the electricity provider. Also, the generator is shown as another input. The power distribution is done through a distribution box and distributed to multiple floors. Each floor has its own distribution box. For data collection, we have deployed sensors in each distribution box so that we can collect various parameters of the electricity measurement like voltage, current, frequency, and power factor. All these parameters are collected using separate sensors, and I will explain in detail about how these are configured in the platform. This is the provisioning screen, in which we can create hierarchy. First, we can create a company. Under the company, we can create locations. Multiple locations can be created like this. Currently, we have only one location which we have created. There can be multiple buildings in a location, and each building will have its own set of floors. If you can see the view now, the headquarters has 4 floors currently: basement, ground floor, first floor, and second floor. Now if we click on the eye icon of any of the floors, we can see the details of that floor. The image mapping will take you to a screen where we can see the details of the images which are uploaded for that particular floor. This is a very high-level drawing of the floor, and the sensors which are shown here are the sensors which we have configured for this floor. These sensors can be configured by dragging and dropping from the right-hand pane, which is the sensor catalog. Once we drag and drop the sensor, we can configure it easily. This particular sensor is an analog input. We can enable it and set the frequency of data collection based on the requirement. We can then configure the interface based on the protocol. Currently, we can configure the Ethernet interface and then select the protocol as Modbus. Once we select Modbus, it will give us the details of the Modbus register which we need to read the specific sensor data. Also, we have to enter the IP address, where it is available, and the port number. For the sensor model selection, as you can see, we currently support multiple sensor models, and we can easily add new sensor models. There are different units available for assigning to sensors, like voltage, current power, and energy, etc., which can be configured. The health ranges can help determine whether the sensor is in critical, warning, or normal stage. We can add the different health statuses and give the values to define whether it's the minimum or maximum values. When the value is within the range, it will show normal. If it crosses the threshold, then it goes to the warning or critical status. It will also change the color according to the sensor reading or status. The health status itself is configurable. You can see that these are created by ourselves while doing the configuration. Then we can define them as either critical, normal, warning, high, or low. The configuration is flexible and can be added in the health status. We can provide a color coding to the health range. This is a very flexible and easy way of doing health status monitoring. We can also create the users for a particular level, and I showed you the hierarchical level earlier. Now we can create a user at any level, and we can specify the username, user email, and user role. I will come to the user roles creation screen shortly. Based on the login requirement, IDP login can be set to either enable or disable, so you can choose which type of identity provider login you want to have. Now we can move to user roles to see how we can configure them. We can create a role name and role permission which can be either read-only or read-write. Based on this, we can configure a super user as a read-write permission and a normal user who has a read-only permission. Normal users will only be able to monitor the screens, while the super user will be able to monitor and configure the screens. Another interesting feature of the platform here is the assigning of roles at a level. If we click on the eye icon, we can select the users who are appropriate for that level. The user who is selected will be able to see the alarms up to that level, including the alarms below the selected level. In a similar way, we can also select a gateway in the hierarchy, so from that level onwards, below all sensors will be reporting to that gateway to maintain the data integrity. For example, if we have multiple floors, and if we want the data from all the floors to come to a gateway, we must select gateway at a higher level than the floors. For example, let us go back to this screen to see the hierarchy levels. You can see headquarters, and we want all the sensors from all the floors to come to a gateway. For that, we select the gateway at the headquarters level, and this way the data integrity will be maintained. Now let us see how we can customize the home screen. The customization can be done by configuring the widget, trend charts, and the bottom widgets. Also, we can configure the initial image which we saw earlier. We can also configure and customize the dashboard which we saw earlier. We can edit each of the dashboards and assign it to a page or section by adding different tiles. Currently supported tiles are bar chart, time series, donut, half donut, custom bar chart, and comparison bar. There are multiple charts, cards, and widgets which are supported, so each of these can be configured and connected to a sensor. Based on how the configuration sensors pick up the value, we can see these values in the configured chart. The tiles are added and arranged to a dashboard screen, and that way you can customize the entire solution according to your needs and get the maximum benefit out of the monitoring solutions. So that concludes our demo of the Delpheon platform.